children are the future, you can say.
Yeah.
Are we taking care of the children relating to the electrosmog and the wireless society and the technologies?
Of course not we are. Because now the children are seen upon as a growing market segment for this mobile phone industry, the wireless technology industry. And more children are using mobile phones. In fact, the children are guinea pigs. Because now the society and certain researchers are starting to study if the children that uses the mobile phones, if they are at higher risks for developing brain tumors than children than other children. If the use of mobile phones has put them into high risks of developing dangerous brain tumors. And I think that's totally unacceptable. We should know before we give the children a mobile phone. We should know before if it is a risk for developing such a serious disease. We shouldn't give them a mobile phone saying that this is safe and afterwards controlling if they got a serious disease of the mobile phone use. But that is in fact what is happening today.
It's a live experiment, you can say.
Yes, it's a live experiment, and the parents and the children are not told that it is an experiment. They are told that there are a large amount of studies that has shown that the mobile phone use is safe, and in fact it's really the contrary, because on one hand we have a growing amount of studies showing that there are considerable risks for health by using mobile phones. And on the contrary, the mobile phones, and on the other hand, the mobile phones were introduced without any studies showing that they were safe. So this should be, in a sound society, be considered as totally unacceptable, letting children be part of a huge experiment. And we know today, unfortunately, that there are huge risks for developing brain tumors, for developing neurological damage to the brain, and other diseases as well, because it's not only the brain that is damaged by this radiation. We have research from the Lund University on rats showing that the major effects from the mobile phone occurs on the rats, at least 1 meter away, 1 meter distance from the mobile phones. So that's really intriguing and makes you think.
But what about, I have heard someone said that children should not be more sensitive to all these things. Some scientists, they step out and say, oh, children are not more sensitive. Is that...
Yes, for example, the Swedish Radiation Protection Authority falsely claims that no research has been able to show that children are more sensitive. That's completely rubbish. We know from most areas that environmental agents, regarding environmental agents, chemicals, radiation and so forth, that children are more sensitive, and that's because they are growing bodies, they have a developing central nervous system, and their cell renewal is faster. So they are definitely more sensitive. And for example, the World Health Organization has stated several times that children has a specific sensitivity. They are more vulnerable to environmental agents than grown-up people. And regarding this mobile phone radiation, several scientific studies has shown that the radiation penetrates more deeply into a children's brain. But of course, the acknowledgement that the children are more sensitive is of course a risk to this powerful industry, because they see children as a growing market segment that should not be stopped by anybody claiming that children would be more sensitive. So that's why, for example, the Swedish Radiation Protection Authority stubbornly refuses to acknowledge that children is more sensitive.
Yeah, it seems that they are living in a completely other world when they say things like that.
Yes, it's completely rubbish.
Yeah.
Everybody who thinks for themselves understands that that is completely rubbish.
Yeah.
We know from so many experience from the past that children is specifically sensitive, and we have also shown, which is very intriguing, a study that showed that mothers who use their mobile phones, the radiation from the mobile phone affected the heart rate of the fetus, the child in the stomach of the mother, and even the newborn babies were affected by their heart rate, were affected by radiation from the mobile phone, and the effect was higher the younger the child or the fetus was. So this is definitely a signal, a strong warning signal, that children are more sensitive, and they're more sensitive the younger they are. So they should be protected from this.
Would it be too hard to say that this is actually a betrayal? This is a betrayal of children and the future generation?
Of course it is a betrayal when we don't tell people and the children what we know about the risks. Instead of telling them, we know there are huge risks with this radiation, we say that it's completely safe. You can give the mobile phone to your child to be more secure, to feel more secure. You can call the child whenever you want to check that he is okay. Instead, perhaps you give the child a death sentence. The child will have a brain tumor in 10 years and die from it. Most people die from brain tumors, malignant brain tumors.
Okay, so we can just conclude that this is a big betrayal and that people should really wake up now and think for themselves.
Yes, people should consider the facts for themselves. Not trust what the media tell them, not trust what the authorities tell them, not trust what the industry tell them, because they speak with dollars in front of their eyes. They only think of the revenues and the money and the damage the acceptance of a risk would imply for this very powerful industry. So we have to start to think more critical and be more aware and take more care of our children. You wouldn't give your children a glass with a poison in it and tell it to drink it because it's absolutely safe when you know there are risks with it. But that is in fact what we are doing to our children now with the mobile phones.